it was one of those moments when all of a sudden there's a huge weight on your shoulders. I put the weight there, and there was exactly one way to get the weight off, and it was to ski 3 million human-powered vertical feet.
Real pleasure working with you. I think you've done some incredible things in the on the mountains and in the skiing world as well. And I think what you did didn't have as much publicity as it should have. Because, especially, skiing more than 3 million vertical feet is just amazing. So, first thing first, and I think it would be great if Noah can describe Noah. So, who is Noah?
Noah is just a kid in Vermont who loves skiing, loves being outside, loves the mountains, loves meeting new people, loves just everything about skiing and the outdoors, and I'm somebody that just loves to go. And why ski a little when you can ski a lot? And I'm somebody that loves skiing in the best conditions and loves skiing in the absolute worst conditions, skiing by myself, skiing with friends, just all of it, skiing early in the morning or skiing in short shorts and drinking beer is good with me too.
What is your background? Are you from Vermont, or are you coming from another part of the US?
Yeah, so I grew up outside of Boston, and I learned to ski when I was little on a little tiny ski hill, like 100 vertical meters, maybe like 300-400 feet, called the Neshoba Valley, right outside of Boston. I skied growing up, but I was never a really serious skier. I skied 5-10 times a year. I didn't ski race. I didn't do anything. I was never really good at sports. I was never focused, so I didn't play a high school sport or a college sport. And then after college, I moved to Maine in the Northeast of the United States. Yeah. And that was the first time I was ever spending time with really serious skiers. And so they were serious skiers, so I became more serious. And I got introduced to ski touring. 6, 7, 8 years ago now. And I bought a cheap used telemark setup for $100. And one Monday night at the Camden Snow Bowl, a little community ski hill almost right on the ocean in Camden, Maine, I marched myself up the mountain for the first time ever. And I was starting to get hooked then, but I was still spending a lot of time on chairlifts. But then as time went on, I became more and more focused on the ski touring. And when I moved in Vermont, eventually I would ski on the chairlift for work. I was coaching at the ski club here, but for my fun, I would ski tour.
How did you end up in Vermont?
I was living out of my minivan in Maine, and I was like hanging Christmas tree lights, and I was a substitute teacher at a school, and an offer came to teach and coach at the ski club here. And it was one of those, I tried to come up with a million reasons why I shouldn't make a big life move, but I said, I have no reason. And I've lived in Stowe pretty much ever since then.
When was that?
2019. I moved to Stowe fall 2019.
Okay, just before COVID.
Before COVID. And it was really a tough move because I moved here. I didn't have any friends. Then 3 weeks after I moved here, I took a fall ice climbing and had a small compression fracture in my back. And then right as I got healthy, COVID hit. So I didn't have friends, but I learned very quickly during COVID. It was the first time really that I learned, like, oh, wow, you can ski a lot today and ski a lot tomorrow and then go for a bike ride. And everybody else is a lot more tired than you are, and they've done a lot less exercise. All of a sudden I had so much time. I was like, okay, I guess I'll just go run and explore this place that I haven't explored before. So that COVID was really important for me. All of a sudden I had time and I was healthy. So I just learned I could fill my entire day with exercise.
What do you think is special about skiing in Vermont as well?
Skiing in Vermont, you have to work, and the mountains are small. Our tallest mountain is just over where I live. It's like 1,000 meters.
Mm-hmm.
Just over, like 1,300, Mount Mansfield. And it's a lot of skiing in tight trees. We get a lot of snow, but you have to ski. Usually you have to ski the snow when it's there, because then you get rain, or so you gotta go. You gotta know where you're going, and you have to be quick with tight trees and finding different zones. But it's also very beautiful, and most importantly, this is a place that loves skiing, and it's a community that loves skiing and loves each other. The morning before work, sometimes there'll be 200 or more people parading up with headlights on a Tuesday morning here.
Yeah.
And there's also, a very rich history of high-level athletes coming out of here. I've spent some time just skiing and spending time over at the Cochrane's ski hill, where they've produced how many Olympic World Cup skiers. And that's,
quite a few, I would say.
Yeah, just a few. That's just up the road from here. And, you go there, you see everybody. It's like, oh, that guy skied on the World Cup. And whenever you're out and about, you go on Strava, and you're like, oh, I'll never crack this top 10. It's 5 ex-pro cross-country skiers and 5 pro bike riders. And you're like, okay. And then the next 10 down were all Division I athletes. So despite being really small, there's a deep, deep love of the sport. And despite tough conditions, a lot of years, it's hard. This year we had an awesome year, great skiing. So I forget the bad years, but it's people that just love it. And it's people that care about each other. And the minute that somebody needs something, the community is there. And there's competition, but it's the kind of competition that brings everybody up, not the kind that hurts people.
Yeah, it's let's say it's more about the community.
It's about the community, and something that I say, and I think it's really true here, is a rising tide lifts all ships. And I felt that in Vermont, that being here has made me who I am as an athlete and as a person.
Yeah, which is incredible, because sometimes we think about skiing as a very individual sport, when really it's not. Because
it takes a village.
Yeah, whether you look at World Cup or mountaineering or ski touring or whatever, it's always about the community behind it, because it's not just the act of doing some sport in itself, but it's also about creating the community, sharing the roots, sharing the knowledge, and being always there together to help each other.
Yeah, I would not be who I am without the Vermont ski community. I could not have done what I did last year without Vermont. Just a funny story. I was at the closing dinner of the Slovenian men's downhill speed camp in Chile, and they say, Noah, where in the States are you from? And I say Vermont, and they say, oh, we know Vermont, we love Vermont. Ryan Cochran-Segal, he's great. It's like, no matter where you go in the skiing world, they know Vermont. I was hitchhiking in Chile to get back, and then one day I got a message later that day. One car passed us, and it was somebody was like, hey, sorry I couldn't pick you up. Our car was full. We are from like 2 towns over. Hope to see you in the spring. And of course I saw them in the spring, but I was thousands of miles away, and there's people from 20 minutes away driving by. It's a special community.
Going back to what you achieved over the years, I think one of the, if not the greatest, it's your 3+ million of vertical feet skied, which is just great. How did you come up with the idea, and how did you came up with it, and how did you started it?
Yeah, so the previous record holder skied 2.5 million feet, named Aaron Rice, and he actually lives in Stowe, and is a friend of mine now. So the idea, people had suggested, no, are you ever going to try something like this? I said, no. But in fall 2022, 2023, I was skiing a lot and exercising a lot, and I was having a lot of fun. I always said I'd never do it because I didn't think it would be fun.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the point of doing something so committing if you're not going to have fun?
Yeah.
And then I was driving home. I went on a date in Burlington, about 40 minutes away. I was driving home, and the date was fine. It was boring. It was bland. And I was driving home that night. I think it was February 7th or so, 2023. And all of a sudden, I was like, what am I going to do with my life? And I said, Noah, you should go for Aaron's record. And it was one of those moments when all of a sudden there's a huge weight on your shoulders. I put the weight there, and there was exactly one way to get the weight off. And it was to ski 3 million human-powered vertical feet. And so that, set it all in motion. I didn't know the path to follow. I didn't know how to go about starting and preparing. But through trial and error, I eventually got myself to January 1st. And at midnight on January 1st, 2024, I left New Year's parties early, took a deep breath, sat much like this at my apartment, said, this is the last time you'll feel normal and your last chance to quit. And then right at midnight, as fireworks were going off around town, I started walking up the mountain, right in Stowe.
Which is, it's beautiful. A lot of people talk about, New Year's resolutions, but I think this is a real one.
Yeah, this is the most committed I've never felt so committed to something. I've never cared about something so much, certainly about a goal. I didn't know that I was so motivated by goals, but I think it turned out I never cared about a goal so much.
Why do you think it's so?
Because it was for me.
Okay.
I took everybody along on the ride, but this was for me. This was to see if I could be the best at something, if I could really try my hardest. I don't think I'd ever been the best Noah that I could ever be. And I was doing it for me. And that's why I cared. It wasn't, you have to graduate college in 4 years.
Yeah.
Or you need to get a job. It was something that I decided on. The motivation came from me. And that's why, and I cared. It was for me. And I was happy to have everybody along for the ride and the support. Yeah. But I wanted to do it. And I was not going to fail. I was not going to let myself fail. If I got hurt, that's something. But I was not going to quit. It wasn't going to happen.
How did you structure it? Did you plan on doing a certain mile per day? Or... Yeah,
so how I did it, I assumed that I would ski 330 days out of the 365. And my goal was 3 million vertical feet. So that came down to 9,090 feet a day for 330 days, or 250,000 feet a month. And I'm somewhat of an anxious person. So my first month, January, I was here in Vermont, and I went big. I skied over 12,000 feet a day. It was something like 378,000 feet in the month. So I got ahead early. I got ahead the first day.
Yeah.
At midnight, I started by getting ahead, and I refused to fall behind. And that's how I was able to ski 590,000 more feet than I planned on.
Did you do all this vertical skiing in Vermont?
No, so I was really all over the skiing world, which was really cool. So Vermont, I was in for January, but Europe was having a great year that year. Things were awesome. and I knew I'd have good access, and it would be a good adventure to be in Europe. So, unfortunately, the skiing ended up being bad the entire time I was there. But I was in France. I was in Saint-Gervais and around there for February, which was really a great experience, but also certainly there it was very alarming as it was really warm and I could see the snow go up the valley, and that's motivated me to be involved with Protect Our Winters. Since then, great food, baguettes every day. The boulangerie lady started to get confused if this one person was really eating that much food. Then I was in Innsbruck and St. Anton for March, which Innsbruck is like the coolest ski city in the world. Like there might be cooler ski towns, but nowhere have I been that you can have that much city, so walkable. Get on public transportation, all of a sudden you're at Patrickhoffel or Axum or Lism in like boom, or St. Anton in what, an hour? Like it's the center of the European ski universe like I'd never been before. And then I was back in Vermont for April, which is an awesome month to ski in Vermont. Sunny, long days, easy access. Then I drove out west and I was in Colorado. I was in Utah for a few weeks. I stayed with Steven Nyman in Utah, my Fisher teammate. And all of a sudden I was like, what the heck? Like I had been mostly anonymous in Europe. And then all of a sudden I'm staying with somebody with 3 World Cup wins. I was like, dude. Utah, then I spent about a month and a half at Mount Hood in Oregon on the West Coast, kind of glacier skiing. And I got to see a lot of the best free ride athletes, hang out with really cool people there. I summited with Jeremy Jones and some of the best free ride athletes in the world. And skied with them. And then I headed to Chile for 3 months, where it was the center of the skiing universe for a while. And beautiful sunsets, some incredible skiing, the most friendly people. The community was incredible in Chile.
Yeah, they are. And
the Chileans are awesome.
Fantastic food. I love the asado.
Yes. The asado. Yes, and near around 18 de septiembre, the national day, it was you couldn't walk anywhere without eating meat. The meat is very, very good. I was eating so many carbs, it was like sometimes meat would fill me up too much, so I couldn't get enough carbs in, so I had to be careful with too much meat. Chile, and then I was on a volcano in the south called Corralco, is the ski resort, but the volcano is Lonquimay. And Chile was awesome. I will never forget those 3 months. And Chile is where I broke the previous world record, and where I, alone on Lonquimay in a kind of weird, foggy, rainy, snowy whiteout, hit 3 million, which felt fitting. I skied a lot alone, and by myself on a mountain, doing it because I loved it, was when I got to 3 million. And then November, I flew back to Oregon where my truck was. A few days on Mount Hood, a few days in Utah, a few days in Colorado, then back to the Northeast.
What do you think this experience has changed about you? If you do feel change?
I think I can dream bigger now.
Okay.
I think I'm still myself. I still want to hang out with my friends. I still get when I'm cold. I still can't find my skins in my truck. I still, like a gas station hot dog. I don't feel like I'm a better person. I feel like I have a bigger community, but I feel like I can dream big, that I can set goals. I can set big goals, and I know how to attack them. And I can dream. It doesn't mean that all my dreams will come true, but I have given myself permission to dream and to take risks. This year was a big risk It was a big risk physically, financially, emotionally, and now I know that I can take those risks. I can think about them, and I have a big network now that I can call to talk about these things or to go do something really cool all over the world.
What's the next level?
My next level right now is some time out of ski boots. Is just like doing a lot is important, rest is important. I skied a ton this spring, which was awesome. I skied a lot more than I thought. My next level is now, in the immediate future, it's biking and running and doing these other sports that I love. My next level for next year, I would love to go back to Chile and ski more of the volcanoes. I really like volcano skiing. I think it's just cool. It's just like a boom. I think my next level is learning more about storytelling and telling my stories in the mountains and telling other stories, telling our stories together, and spending more time on big mountains. But also, there's still plenty of stuff in Vermont I haven't done.
And do you think your record could be
broken?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I hope it is. I think.
Would you?
Would I? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because it's skiing the way I did was an absolutely incredible way to live 1 year, and a heinous, terrible, terrible way to live a life.
Okay.
Skiing is everything, but there's also so much more. There's family, there's weddings, there's food, there's late nights, there's travel. I was in places and I didn't even travel around because it was. There's long mornings. When it was hard, there were some mornings like all I want to do. I want to go skiing today, but I wish I could just sit here for 2 hours and drink one more cup of coffee. So I don't think I will ever break my record, but I hope whoever does break my record has just as much fun as I did.
Fantastic. One last thing, since we were talking about community before, do you think what you did resonate in Vermont, in Stowe, in your community?
Oh, I know it did. Somebody recently I was skiing told me that they started ski touring because of what I did, which if I made one person fall in love with this sport, wow. I'm lucky. All year I was getting messages from people in Vermont and just telling me that they were with me, and when I came back and the reception I've gotten, I was really lucky, and I'm proud. I was honored at our state house. The state government read a bill kind of honoring me, and then just Sunday I got a phone call from the state representative. It said, "I have a gift for you," from the clerk. The speaker that read the bill made me a belt buckle. They were so inspired and moved. They made a belt buckle for me with a topographic map of the mountains here.
Fantastic.
So I know I've made an impact, and that feels really good. I'm really proud of that. More than the numbers and a record, the important thing to me is the people who I've made an impact on, the people that have made an impact on me. That's what matters.
Thank you, Noah.
Thank you.